Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. And today's story, I'm going back to a show that I've done quite a few stories on, which is Britain's Darkest Taboos. And the girl I'd like to talk about, which is obviously featured in this show, is Sylvia Fleming. Now, Sylvia was born on October the 11th, 1980. In Omagh, Belfast in Ireland, and she's the youngest of three sisters. She's got two older sisters, Kathleen and Josie is the eldest. Now Josie appears on the show, and she says that they were brought up by their dad done his best to try and bring them up, but he couldn't cope, so the three girls did find themselves in and out of foster care. They had a bit of a rough start to life, to say the least. There was physical abuse of the three girls. And they just didn't have the best start, but they were kept together in the various foster homes they were sent to. So it brought them closer. They were very, very, very close sisters. Now, Josie, being the eldest, was very protective over the other two. She looked out for the other two. And Sylvia, she was doing well, and when she was 16, she left school. But at school, she'd been very popular. She had a bit of an artistic flair. She was very studious. Really fighting against the upbringing and trying to make herself better and get a better, have a better life. So in 1997, when she was 16, she left school, but she continued on into education, into college, doing hairdressing, and she also got a part-time job in a care home. So, 16-year-old girl, really, trying. She's really trying. She's a very pretty girl. Now, Josie, like I say, the older sister, at this point, she has a baby, gets a place, and she moves her two younger sisters in with her, Sylvia, obviously, being the youngest, and continues to be protective of them. So it continues to try and push them, and it's after such a rough start, it's all starting to look good for these girls. They lived in a very close community. They were very well known. They were very well liked, and it was all looking good. You think they finally got this break, but in December 1997. Sylvia's now 17, and she meets a lad. Well, I say a lad, he's 27. It's 10 years. A lad called Stephen Scott. Now, Stephen was a part-time fireman. He was a bodybuilder. He was very into how he looked, very well dressed, and on paper would seem like someone you would want your sister or daughter, to be with. On paper, he's very charming. He seemed like kind of the perfect guy, but he wasn't. He was a bit strange. And how Sylvia got to know him was her and her sister used to go around to his flat. He had his own flat in the area. Now, Stephen wasn't brought up in that area, so he was quite new to them. And he had like an open door policy in his flat, but to teenagers, kind of rings a few alarm bells there anyway. Young teenagers, 14, 15, where he'd be king of his castle. They all looked up to him. They all thought he was amazing, and he just got a kick out of showing off to these young ones, basically. And Sylvia started this relationship with him, and she fell for him hook, line and sinker. She did. Now, Josie, obviously Sylvia's older sister, didn't like him at all, but she wanted Sylvia to be happy, and she seemed happy. She did with him at first, and she was staying at his house more and more. Josie, being the protective sister she wasn't happy with this, but, Sylvia is an adult to all intents and purposes. There's nothing she can really do other than advise her and be there for her. Now, by this point, Stephen had started showing his controlling side. He had a bit of an obsession with serial killers. There was books all around his flat. Another thing he showed off, in front of all these teenagers. And it was starting to come out that he was very controlling sexually. He was a bit of a sadist. He liked to tie her up. He liked to blindfold her. All very sadistic qualities. This is what he enjoyed. Now, Sylvia wasn't happy about this. She spoke to a friend about it. She didn't like it. He put a pillow over her head once. You wouldn't like that. It's not a mutual thing. I do believe there's couples out there where, someone would be more submissive and, but it's a mutual, it's an agreement. I've heard things like safe work. This wasn't that. It wasn't. She didn't like it, but she loved him. I believe he was kind of her first love, and she looked up to him. Everyone looked up to him. But what people were starting to notice, as well as obviously this going on that she told her friends about, in front of everyone, don't forget, these are all Sylvia's peers, and younger, and he was putting her down. He was constantly making her look stupid in front of people. This is very, if you work out the dates, this is in a very short amount of time that this change came about. But by this point, she'd already fell for him, and she was willing to put up with it. Now, in March 1998, they've only been together 3 months, but Sylvia suspects she could be pregnant. And after she does a few tests, she gets it confirmed, and she is. And Stephen's not happy about that at all. It wasn't part of his plan. People think that he kind of done what he needed to with Sylvia. He was bored, he was going to move on. And this wasn't part of his plan. Now, like I say, he's very controlling. He controls all aspects of his life, and at that point, Sylvia's. So this wasn't part of the plan. And he tries to say it wasn't his child. What a horrible thing to say. And wanted her to get rid of it. And, the whole shebang. I mean, this guy is 27. No, she obviously is not having any of it. She's going to have this child, but they break up. She moves out. But she moves into a friend's house. She doesn't move back with her sisters, which is a shame, really, because when you see her sister Josie on the show, I do think perhaps maybe Josie could have maybe advised her in the decision she made once she moved out, because she decided to continue sleeping with him, even though, they weren't together, she'd moved out. He had that control over her. She kept going back. But her sisters did continue to support her. She's pregnant, she's young. She's obviously very confused in the situation. Now, on Friday, April the 3rd, 1998, at around 11 p.m, Sylvia goes to Stephen's. Now, like I say, she wasn't living there, but she was continuing to go around of a night. And when she walks in, there's 2 14-year-olds there, a girl and a boy. Nothing unusual in that, obviously. He had his little minions kind of thing. And little did Sylvia know that before she'd walked in, Stephen had told these 2 teenagers, I'm going to kill her tonight. 3 months. Going into the 4th month, but that's how long he's known her. Because she got pregnant. Why? But these have been teenagers as well. They didn't take it seriously. They thought it was all bravado. He, had shown them all how obsessed he was with serial killers, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer. They were used to him talking this way. So the fact that he said that, they didn't really take a lot of notice. When Sylvia walked in, I don't know if they'd have even told her if they'd have thought it serious. I don't know. That's speculation, obviously. But she come in. She goes into the bedroom with Stephen. And they have some alcohol. He gives her some sleeping tablets. Yeah, it's marzipan, I believe. He ties her up. And then not the most, but the scariest part for her, he then tapes, and they do kind of a reconstruction on the show, and it shows like thick black masking tape on the actress across her mouth, her nose, and her eyes. So, how do you breathe? You know, she's pregnant, she's 17, she's tied up, she can't move, her hands tied, her legs tied, and then he puts tape over. I mean, she's obviously in the dark, she can't breathe. Oh, you can't imagine. She must have just been terrified. And all of this because she thinks he loves her as much as she loves him. While she's obviously completely out, there's nothing she can do, he injects her with insulin. Now, they say that if you give insulin a certain amount to someone who doesn't have diabetes, it can eventually bring on something called, something similar to a coma. So she would have been like a zombie, and there's a professional on the show called Kerry Nixon, very, very good, and that's her explanation of it. She says she would have just been like a zombie. You know, one of his idols, Jeffrey Dahmer, I think it's Jeffrey Dahmer, that was what he used to do to his victims. He used to put them in literally a comatose state, so although they wasn't dead, they couldn't fight against it. And it was obviously Stephen had studied this and knew what he was doing. So he does this, obviously has his way with that. And Sylvia dies, sorry. She suffocates. It's asphyxiation is the word. And he's not happy enough with that. He's not happy enough that he's just killed a young 17-year-old pregnant with his child. You know, he's not happy that he's done that. He brings in the two 14-year-olds that I mentioned earlier. They're still in his flat while this is going on. He then invites them into the room to have a look at his work. Now, remember, he had told them he was going to do it. They obviously testified to say they hadn't believed him, but then they walk in and they see he followed through with what he said. Now, the 14-year-old girl leaves, and the 14-year-old boy, he gets him to stay. Now, when the girl leaves, and he obviously said to both of them, you're accomplices now. You've seen this. You're part of this. You were in the flat when I did this. You know, it puts the fear of God into these two kids. They're kids. So the girl leaves, the lad stays, and he gets the lad. The lad's name's never mentioned, the girl's name's never mentioned, so that's why I'm saying that. You know, I don't know their names. And he gets the lad to help him wrap Cynthia up in a blanket and put her up into the loft. Stuck in the loft. You know, and you know what they do then? They go swimming. Him and his little friend go swimming. I mean, the lack of remorse and the lack of respect for this girl is just mind-blowing. He's just done that and they go swimming. Now, when they get back, well, when Stephen gets back, sorry, the lad doesn't come back with him, but when he gets back, he gets to work then. You know, he's done what he needed to do, he needs to clear up. Apparently, you know, at this point, he would have been showing serious anti-social personality traits. You know, Kerry Nixon, again, has quoted that. And he's very methodical at this point now. And very like the Lindsay Croy story, the Gemma McCluskey story. He takes Sylvia into the bathroom and with a hacksaw and with knives, he proceeds to dismember her into 8 different pieces. I never know what to say when I'm saying that. I never know. It kind of stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? You know, what it did was so disgusting, so despicable. And it carries on. Look, it gets worse. He then, just to show what a despicable person he is, even more, though we don't know, the poor girl had got her wages the day before and had took them, but they were in her pocket. I think her sister said she had about £24 in her pocket when she went round to Stephen's house. He takes that out of her pocket, goes to the shop with it to buy the cleaning products that he needs to clean up after what he's done, after he's chopped her up in the bathroom. He actually uses her own money to do that. I mean, the level of depravity of this bloke, it just knows no bounds. It doesn't. There's no rock bottom with him. It seems like there's nothing off limits with this guy. It's just there's no words that I can use that can put across how just disgusting this was. She was 17. She was pregnant. Now, Josie and Kathleen at this point are starting to worry. Sylvia's friends said she hadn't come home. So they, like I say, Josie was not a fan of Stephen's anyway. So Josie, Kathleen, and one of their friends and Sylvia's friends go round to Stephen's flat. They tried phoning him. He's claiming he doesn't know where Sylvia is. So they go round. And when they get there, Josie does say he's quite agitated. He's got very red eyes. It seems like he's just trying to rush them out of the flat, but claiming, Sylvia left fine, there was no problems. Now, Josie says she does look up at the loft and she sees him get a little bit shifty over it. But as they're walking out, she sees two rucksacks, backpacks on the floor. All three of the girls, say they saw these. Just before they left, they were kind of by the front door. And the most disgusting part of that story is that Sylvia was in them bags. Her two sisters were that she was there. She was in the bags. So the sisters, of course, not knowing this, very suspicious, but that he's done something. I don't think anyone could get their mind around he'd done that. But they knew something was wrong. They go to the police. They start searches. They start leaflets out. This is a very close community. This is very unusual. So everyone's out searching. The police are out searching. And Stephen, he gets himself involved in the search as well. They're so, what's narcissistic, I suppose the word is. They have to be part of everything to know what's... While he's doing that, though, him and his 14-year-old accomplice then begin the process of having to get rid of Sylvia's body out of his flat because he knows the police are going to come and search his flat. So there's a new housing estate not far from where they live that's just being built, just being put together. So him and his accomplice decide that that's where Sylvia needs to be buried. So they start burying her body parts under these new build houses. They put up the floorboards and they put her under. Obviously no one's living there, they're still being built. And that's where they bury Sylvia. He's so controlling that he refused to carry in one of the rucksacks Sylvia's head and her torso. He forced the 14-year-old to carry that on his back, claiming he had a bad back or something. He just wanted to make sure this 14-year-old would never speak, would never tell on him. I mean, he's just carried a girl's head and torso to be buried under a new build house. Now, this kid's not talking. And while this is happening, there's still a search going on for Sylvia. I mean, you'd have watched these. He took part in these searches, and the whole time, when it got quiet, they were doing, and at one point, they're passing this new estate. Stephen's actually with Sylvia's sisters at the time, and he kind of nods his head down to where the housing estate, and he's quoted as saying something like, you shouldn't go up there, you never know what you're going to find. And Emma Kenny on the show, again, another psychologist, I think she's amazing. She says this was kind of, he didn't want to get caught, but he wanted to have that little bit of a kick. He wanted to have that little bit of power, as if to say, I know something you don't. And it was so cryptic. It was only thought about after the fact. No one thought for 1 minute. In your wildest imagination, you wouldn't have thought what he was saying would connect to Sylvia at all. So then he gets cocky and he tells a 21-year-old friend, again, name's not mentioned, so I'm not too sure about that, but a 21-year-old friend told, and he gets him to help him with the last. Don't forget, Sylvia was cut into 8 pieces. So he gets another accomplice to help him bury the rest of her. But this was his downfall. He just bragged too much. He bragged too much. He got too many people involved. That's 3 people who are aware of what he did. He's actually physically got involved. 2 of them. Both of disposing of Sylvia. Oh, just so many lives ruined. The police do search Stephen's flat. By this point, he's cleared everything. They find nothing. They find no weapons. They find no evidence of foul play there at all, to the point where it's getting where the police are saying, she was young, she was pregnant, is there a chance she's run away? Obviously, her sisters knew that wasn't possible. It wasn't Sylvia. It wasn't in her traits. There was no reason for her to do that. She knew she had the support of her sisters. So after 7 weeks, on the 30th of May 1998, the 21-year-old gets arrested. He gets pulled. And Josie kind of hints that he wanted to get pulled. Maybe he couldn't live with what had happened. I don't know what he was pulled for by the police, but he tells them everything. That's what I mean. Stephen's bragging. It was going to lead to his downfall. He was going to. And this 21-year-old tells the police where to find Sylvia, obviously takes them there. And apparently when they walk into this particular new build house, the smell was horrific. They lift the floorboards and slowly, one by one, pulling her body parts out from under the floor. I mean, even the policemen involved in that, finding that. And she could only be identified by her dental records, and Josie on the show was saying they were just praying that it wasn't her. Of course it was. They're utterly devastating. Now, this has got out by this point. Stephen and the 2 accomplices are arrested. And it created riots within the community. People were going around and basically firebombing the houses of the people involved. So this is, like I say, so many families have been ruined by this guy. It was very bad. If you look on the show, you can see footage of these riots in time, in real time as you're watching them, and fires and so many people, and it was just disgust. It was just utter disgust. These girls were loved within their community. They were very liked. They were popular. And like I said, because Stephen wasn't from there, it was a double hatred then. It was because it wasn't someone they really knew, but he'd killed someone they all loved. And the 2 involved, I'm not sure if they were brought up around the out, I don't know, but you do see their houses getting utterly destroyed by the community. Now, Stephen, when he's brought in, doesn't admit it at first. Does 2 interviews where completely, no comment, nothing to do with me. He waits for the 3rd interview where he finally admits that he tied her up. He admits that he put the tape over her face. He admits that he had given her the sleeping pills. He admits he injected the insulin. He admits everything except strangling Sylvia. and he blames that on the 14-year-old boy. So although he admits everything, he's basically putting it as a sex game gone wrong, and puts the final, the actual murder itself on this 14-year-old boy. Now, I was about to say poor 14-year-old, but I don't know, was he scared? Did he think it was going to happen to him? But the lad was so involved in what happened. It's like, it's hard to kind of, that poor, but no, I don't know. That's very hard, that one. Because don't forget, that lad didn't come forward either. He didn't go to the police. I mean, was he that scared? I don't know. But Stephen is charged with murder. And all four, and I say four because don't forget there was a girl in that flat when Sylvia was being killed as well. So all four are charged with perverting the course of justice, but Stephen was charged with murder. So on March 2000, the trial starts. It's a lot of time going by. They must have had to get the case together and stuff. And there's actually, on the show, there's a reporter, and she covered the case. She actually covered the case while it was going on. And, she says, as cruel as Northern Ireland is known to be, this is her words. This was cruel by even Northern Ireland standards. Her name's Jane Luffrey. She's a UTV reporter who worked on the case, and she said it was just the most disgusting thing she's ever seen. And when she actually seen Stephen had a nickname, and it was Bulldog. Now, you see him, and you say, well, and she said the same thing. She says he was short, stocky. He looked like a bulldog. That's why that was his nickname. Now, in the court, Jane was there, the reporter. She said it was so distressing that the reporters were crying. Obviously, the family was crying. People in the jury. It was so graphic. It was so upsetting to hear about that, what had happened to this poor girl. And she was pregnant. It's utterly disgusting. Josie and her sister and the family, Sylvia's family, had to sit behind Stephen throughout the case as well. And she said there was no remorse on him at all. He pled not guilty. He didn't feel bad. He was there wasn't a lot to him. There was just nothing there. There was nothing. Still saying it was a sex game gone wrong. Now, the pathologist came forward and said the cause of death was asphyxiation. Sorry. And the judge said, the way she was treated before her death, during and after, it was like she was being treated like a piece of meat. It was just disgusting. I mean, this really did disgust a lot of people. The ripple effects were crazy, and rightfully so. On the 13th of March 2000, Stephen was found guilty of murder, guilty of dismemberment, and guilty of concealing a body. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 19 years. Should be so much more. This lad, I don't know. I don't think something like this should never get out. The 14-year-old accomplice was found guilty of dismemberment and concealing a body. He got 2.5 years. The 21-year-old accomplice guilty of concealing a body, he got 2.5 years. And the 14-year-old girl, she was completely acquitted. I mean, she's seen Joseph dead and then left. And was she involved in the searches? Joseph? I don't know. Well, could it have affected that? Maybe that girl's life's never been the same. Maybe the two lads' lives, maybe they've never, maybe they can't go on and live a normal life. I don't know that situation. I don't know what fear he put into them. It's very hard to comment on that. Kerry Nixon on the show. She was one of the most brutal and barbaric he's one of the most brutal and barbaric murderers she's ever seen. She's, you know, she's quite firm in how she talks about him on the show. You know, Jane, the reporter, said, you know, she reports a lot. You know, Belfast has had its, you know, more than its fair share of troubles over the years, as we would all know. She said this one just, it stays with her. It genuinely does. I mean, this is 19 years later, and, you know, it's still as it's still as upsetting and distressing as it was when it happened, you know, in that community. And Sylvia's sisters still live in that community, Josie and Kathleen, and there's still such a strong support for that. It sounds like an amazing community, to be honest. It really does. You know, and Josie does end the show saying, you know, Kathleen, of course, but Sylvia will always be with her. You know, they're still three tight sisters. That's how she sees it. And, you know, it's just so heartbreaking to watch her, to think that these three girls, it was like them against the world at the beginning of their lives, you know, managed to get to a point where, you know, they're out of the care system, they're doing it for themselves. You know, Josie's looking at her younger sisters, especially Sylvia, doing her college, going to work, you know, obviously getting pregnant. She would have been there to support her with that. They were so close. They were so close to just getting this normal life up and running, and this man just comes along within 4 months of meeting her sister and just destroys their lives completely, forever. It's just utterly heartbreaking. It is, you know, the crime itself, her age, the fact she was pregnant. You know, it does remind me a little bit of Georgia Williams. You know, in what happened. It's just so sad, as all the videos I do are, and, you know, because it was a few years ago. It is in Ireland, you know, a lot of people hadn't heard about it, and because it was so big and still remembered that, I felt I wanted to do this one. So thank you for joining me again. I know it's been a long one, but I really appreciate it. If you've got any comments, please pop them in the box. If you'd like to subscribe, just means you get my videos first, or anyone else. I'd really appreciate that too. And yes, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much again. Thank you.